family says that, you know, it seems to be an overreaction and that they caused his death, and they're even likening it to the George Floyd murder, saying when there's a knee involved, everything's going to be looked at. Let's talk to retired judge of the California Supreme Court, Judge LaDoris Cordell, and that is because you're a former independent police auditor for the city of San Jose, so you know how these investigations go and what they look at. What are they looking at right now?
Well, let me just, first of all, thank you for having me this morning. And let me just start by saying Mario Gonzalez should be alive today. What happened to him, as portrayed in the body camera footage, and I encourage people, although it's painful to look at it, to actually watch it. This is a textbook example of why law enforcement should not respond to individuals in the midst of mental health crises. Within seconds of the officers arriving at the scene, it was obvious that Mario was mentally ill. He was incoherent. He was not responding to the officers' inquiries. It's also very clear that Mario was not threatening anyone. He was calm. He was not aggressive. He gave them his first name. He was standing quietly in a small park. That's it. So what the officers did was make a decision to arrest Mario for suspicion of shoplifting alcohol. That's a misdemeanor for which officers had the option of issuing a citation or even issuing a warning. What they did is they saw Mario as a criminal and not as someone in need of help. So instead, they did what law enforcement's trained to do. They escalated the situation with the use of force. First, by attempting to handcuff Mario, and when he refused to let them, by resisting, by pulling his left arm away, not by trying to hurt the officers, but by pulling away, the officers did what they're trained to do, escalated the use of force by performing a takedown of Mario. And they went further when he was down, still trying to get that arm so they could handcuff him, using their knees to hold down his back and their hands to hold his legs when he was prone on the ground. So it's likely that as a result of all this, he suffered, I'm not a physician, but it's likely he suffered cardiac arrest. And the officers did try to revive him at the scene. So what should have happened is that as soon as the officers arrived and quickly realized that they were dealing with a man in crisis, they should have backed off and called for mental health professionals to take charge. Trained mental health professionals could have obtained information from Mario about where he lived, contacted his family members, and most importantly, not escalated the situation by using force. So, you know, when Mario resisted being handcuffed, these officers could have right then and should have just backed off. What were they worried about? Mario didn't have a car. He wasn't going to flee. Given his size, he wasn't going to outrun them, assuming he could run at all. They could have just followed him and stayed with him until mental health workers arrived. You know, in my view, the death of Mario Gonzalez should be a wake-up call for the city of Alameda. Law enforcement should not be first responders to individuals in mental health crises.
This is just so sad. Like you said, all of these things make sense now in retrospect, but you were also kind of laying it out with what the police thought that they were doing, and that somehow what they were doing made sense to them, and who's paid the price in the end.
Exactly, and that's what they're trained to do. They are not trained to do this kind of work. And that's when we get to the essence of policing. The essence of policing is not this, and it shouldn't be.
So in your mind then, does this then brings up the need to fundamentally restructure how policing works, and when we call trained police officers who are trained to end violence, by violence in some cases, but in situations like this, you'd rather there be a completely different structure that gets put into action.
Exactly. It's the very essence of policing. So if you're in a mental health crisis, the last thing you want to see is someone show up who's wearing a gun. And particularly if you're calm, if you're not someone who's being aggressive. So yes, the very key to policing is, you know, solving crimes, doing undercover work, those kinds of things. In my view, stopping to help the mentally ill, detaining them and arresting them should not be a part of their job. And now it's time for the city of Alameda to do something, to not just look away and because I guarantee you there will be similar results if there's another situation like this.
But let's go into the courtroom then, and whether it's criminal or just a police investigation, Are the officers then guilty of something? Should they be fired? Should they be tried? What about that?
So there are two things here. One is, should the officers be disciplined? That's an administrative remedy that happens within the police department. And the only reason officers get disciplined is if they violate policy or procedure. It is my guess, not having seen the policy and procedures for the Alameda Police Department, that they followed the policy. They went, they saw someone they suspected, and probably so, that he had shoplifted alcohol. And then they said, okay, this is what we do. We arrest because we have probable cause to arrest. So will they likely be disciplined? I doubt it. I mean, they were very courteous to him. They didn't call him names, and Mario didn't call them names. In fact, Mario twice said thank you to them as he was yelling, and they were, proning him out on the ground. So likely no. So then the other is criminal. Would there be criminal charges? Did they violate the law? Did they commit a crime? And that gets to pretty much, again, what is their intent? Did they intend to go out there and kill him? No. I'm pretty sure everyone agreed that's not their intent. Their intent was to arrest him. And in doing so, they do what police do. That is, get him to submit and get him handcuffed. Whether or not there are any criminal charges here, I don't know what the DA is going to do in Alameda County in looking at this case, because I know they're investigating it. So they're going to look at everything. They're going to look at manslaughter. They're going to look at whether or not this was reckless behavior, or whether or not these officers did what a reasonable officer would do in the situation. I don't believe that they should have responded in this way at all, but was it a crime? That's up to the DA to decide.
It's going to be interesting because from the police perspective as well, you'll hear from them, I don't know what to do now when I'm called out to a scene. And let's say in this case, they came, they approached, everything was calm at first, and in the end, they put, a suspect, quote unquote, to the ground to arrest them. And if that person dies, it's almost like they're second guessing everything now in the field. There's a lot of retraining that has to happen.
Absolutely. And they shouldn't have to second guess when you immediately, as a layperson, you could see immediately that Mario Gonzalez was having a mental health crisis. That was obvious. So there needs to be a policy change that says, officers, hands off. You don't do that. Unless he is aggressive and posing a danger to people, you won't have to second guess yourselves, because you won't have to interact. You can be a backup. You can stand quietly and watch as mental health professionals help. So yes, there needs to be an absolute change so that officers are not put in this kind of a situation where someone ends up dying.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate your perspective. And
Sure.
This is all what's going on now behind the scenes in this case.
Judge Cordell, we appreciate your time.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.